mistakes and ESI discovery abuses. So obviously, having the right plan and addressing e-discovery issues at the beginning is one step of controlling costs and one step in preventing verdicts, adverse verdicts and findings from the court. When you have an e-discovery plan and you're involved in litigation involving e-discovery, there are really 5 steps in handling it. You have the preservation stage, where you're complying with the duty to preserve evidence. There's a litigation hold order, perhaps, or litigation hold reminders. You have the collection stage, when you're trying to gather all the electronically stored information and documents. That can involve data mapping and whatnot, and we'll discuss this later. There's the processing stage, where you cull data, you prepare documents for review, you narrow down the data that will be reviewed and produced. The 4th stage is review, where you actually review the documents. You sort documents with regards to relevancy and privilege, confidentiality. And the final stage, of course, is production, whereas the documents have been collected, processed, reviewed, culled, examined, and then prepared for production, and they are produced to opposing counsel. I think on the slides here, this basically shows the electronic discovery reference model, how it basically works, that most companies use, and this is the primary model that we will use with regards to this. So what is preservation? Well, to be really safe, you need to be proactive in determining whether a duty to preserve documents exists. You need to implement the necessary litigation holds before a complaint is served if you reasonably expect litigation in the near future, or expect a complaint to be served. You have to, or should be, over-inclusive in your preservation efforts. Primarily, at that point in time, you really don't know exactly what should be preserved or not, and you really are better off being over-inclusive instead of under-inclusive. And you need a litigation hold to be sent out throughout the company, and throughout the litigation and the discovery stage, you really have to refine the litigation hold memo that is sent out as new information becomes available, considering there may be new custodians, there may be new evidence, etc., and you have to continue monitoring your litigation holds. Once the data is preserved, well, you have to collect it. Where is it? So you really need to, under the rules of federal procedure, you need to map out where the data is located at. And actually, I would suggest right now, any company doing business in the United States that reasonably expects litigation in the future, you should now map your data. Where is it located at? You have to determine what repositories of electronically stored information exist, and during litigation, which repositories are responsive to the discovery request. And you have to preserve all relevant data, even if it's not really reasonably accessible. It could be backup tapes, it could be redundant systems. Not only do many IT divisions or IT departments of companies lose track of data, but many lawyers, whether in-house counsel or outside attorneys, do not have a firm grasp of where the documents are, where the electronically stored information is. So after you collect the data, we need to determine how much is available. Where is the data exactly at? It can be stored on servers. It can be located on file servers. There may be automatic backups. As I said, backup tapes are made or can be in several locations. Many places, many companies don't know where all the backup tapes are. Even redundant storage systems have to be looked at. What kind of preservation and collection duties exist? Actually, who does it? And it can be done in-house by the IT department. It can be done by an outside vendor. You need to decide on the modes of preservation and the modes of collection, whether it's going to be self-collection, self-preservation, or not. Companies really have to have a handle on that and make a decision on how to proceed with regards to the preservation and collection. But there is a problem with self-collection that many courts in the United States have. The fact is, the IT departments of many companies are not used to documenting the foundational elements of an e-discovery process. Sometimes they don't image data in a proper scientifically way. The fact is, when you image data for litigation, it has to be imaged scientifically in an unquestionable format that can withstand claims from the respondent. Also, with regards to self-collection, it can be a drain on IT resources. So companies have found out that it's best when you collect documents in a litigation with regards to e-discovery that it is sometimes best to use outside vendors to help assist with this. After that, processing. Well, how do you process the data? You need to cull it. This is actually where you save the most money, I think, in an e-discovery issue, is by culling the data and reforming it to where, reducing it to where it's a manageable size. This can really help save costs if done properly. You remove innocuous files, you remove redundant files, it really lowers your cost. In doing that, what do? Well, there's several ways of processing data. You can conduct keyword searching. You can conduct concept searching, context searching. These are all ways of basically finding the relevant electronic documents, even with regards to metadata. Step 4 is the review. I don't know if it's appearing on your screen. And that, of course, is searching and evaluating the collective data for relevance, privilege, and confidentiality. At that time, you can also use appropriate search techniques and strategies with regards to searching the collected data and searching it for relevancy. And then there's the production. Well, production needs to be worked out really at the beginning. Do you produce the electronic documents in a native format with metadata? How do you produce them? What kind of platforms are they going to be produced in? And that's something that needs to be worked out really at the beginning of any litigation involving e-discovery. So, as you can see in conclusion, it really is worthwhile to have an adequate, robust electronic discovery plan in place. You have to satisfy the electronic discovery issues that U.S. courts have because of the changes in the federal rules and case law, including Zubilaki. And so there are a number of steps you need to go through. One is to inventory and identify the types of electronically stored information you have, implement processes that facilitate easy collection and indexing of data. You need to have the document retention destruction policy in place that is enforced on a regular basis. There has to be a records retention coordinator in your company. I would suggest you really need to know your IT systems. You really need to map them out, find out where the information is, who has what. Know your options for outside assistance with regards to vendors to help collect, cull, review data for you, and then to integrate all of that into your electronically stored information process. And last but not least, of course, you may need witnesses on e-discovery, and you'll have to have witnesses trained, either your IT staff trained or someone trained perhaps to testify when it comes time for trial. I'll be happy to answer any questions with regards to this at the end of the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bryan. 네, 브라이언 이사님의 이디스커버리 비용을 절감하는 방법에 대해서 들어봤습니다. 저희 주앤합킨스에서도 이디스커버리 서비스를 제공하는데 아주 간단히 저희 회사에서는 어떻게 이디스커버리를 제공하는지 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 네, 좀 전에 브라이언 변호사님께서 EDRM 모델을 이렇게 보여주셨는데요. 네, 가장 큰 장점 몇 개만 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 저희는 아이덴티피케이션 단계에서 이제 데이터들이 지금 회사에 어디에 지금 위치하고 있는지, 그리고 어떤 날짜, 메타데이터를 이용해서 어떤 날짜나 어떤 형식의 데이터, 서버 또는 뭐 PC, 익스체인지에 저장이 되어 있는지 그림 형식으로 굉장히 간단하게 보실 수가 있습니다. 네. 그 다음에 preservation 단계에서 litigation hold를 이제 보내는 단계가 있는데요. 저희 화면에 이렇게 보시면 알겠지만 가운데 파란색, 초록색 바가 있습니다. 그래서 각 부서마다 몇 명한테 litigation hold 노티스를 보냈는지, 그리고 파란색으로는 몇 명의 사람들이 그것을 확인을 했고, 그 다음에 아직 얼만큼의 사람들이 아직 확인을 하지 않았는지를 확인하실 수가 있으시고요. 다음에 또 주기적으로 리마인더를 보내서 직원들이 중요한 문서들을 삭제하지 않도록 상기시켜주는 그런 노티스들을 보내주실 수가 있습니다. 또 이제 컬렉션하고 프로세싱 단계에서는요, 오른쪽에 있는 이 그림을 보시면은 아시겠지만 여기 이제 커다란 바가 이제 전체 수집된 데이터의 양을 보여주는 것이고, 그다음에 오른쪽은 브레이크다운으로 보실 수가 있습니다. 그래서 뭐 이만큼은 PDF 파일이고, 이만큼은 마이크로소프트 워드 파일이고, 뭐 엑셀 파일이고, 뭐 이메일 파일, 이렇게 브레이크다운이 가능하시기 때문에 데이터를 줄이는 단계에 있어서 훨씬 더 효과적으로 하실 수가 있습니다. 저희 소프트웨어가 가장 강력한 기능 중에 하나가 이 컨셉 서치라는 건데요. 예를 들어서 어떤 사건이 터졌을 때 그 사건과 관련된 모든 단어를 다 검색을 해보시지 못하실 수도 있습니다. 그래서 예를 들어서 커피라는 것을 검색을 하시게 되면은 또 커피와 관련된 다른 컨셉트들을 이렇게 찾아서 보여주게 됩니다. 그래서 커피와 관련된 거는 뭐 라떼도 있고 에스프레소가 있는데, 또 커피에는 또 커피 체인이 있어서 커피 체인 중에는 스타벅스, 그 다음에 커피빈, 뭐 카페 베네, 이런 식으로 컨셉 서치를 하실 수가 있습니다. 그래서 특정한 단어를 검색하지 않더라도 그와 유사하거나 좀 비슷한 개념의 단어를 검색을 하셔도 모두 다 잡아서 걸러낼 수 있는 아주 커다란 장점이 있습니다. 리뷰 단계에서는 이제